Hello, welcome to the BiG Scuba Show.
Today's episode is sponsored by Narked at 90, so let's find out a bit more about them. Narked at 90, their tagline has been beyond technical, which describes them pretty well. John Routley and Brent Hudson launched the company over 20 years ago. They are both technical divers who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives between them over a 30-year period. Using their engineering know-how and diving expertise, have developed bespoke, personal, commercial and military diving equipment and products of a universally recognised, unparalleled calibre.
Their ability to be adaptive and versatile with their developments led them to support the NHS during COVID. Using their superior knowledge of breathing and oxygen monitoring systems to help develop emergency ventilators. They also design and supply the sneaky stuff used by defence-based development groups throughout the Western world, although they can't tell us much about that. If you're thinking of moving across to tech diving or completely new to diving, Narked at 90 can advise and guide on the best equipment and setup for your personal or commercial requirements. Narked at 90 have unparalleled experience of sheer water dive computers and are the longest serving and sole and UK European service centre for those. They are happy to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades to all sheer water computers, past and present. Narked at 90 stock sheer water computers but are also stockists and technical support centre for many other manufacturers including Divesoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss rebreathers.
Based centrally in the UK, Narked at 90 also offer full rebreather head servicing for selected manufacturers.
Bespoke cable assemblies.
Advice on specific fitting requirements.
Suggestions and guidance for home builds.
Computer laser cutting and engraving.
Pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives.
So, Narked at 90, a reputation built on supporting both manufacturers and divers worldwide.
Go to narkedat90.com and make sure you are following their social media to keep up to date with their latest news and offers.
Narked at 90, large enough to cope, small enough to care.
Hello everyone, welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast. My name's Ian, I am your dive master for this episode. And with me by the power of Zoom, all the way in Pakefield is...
Hello, my name's Gemma and I am your co-host.
Yeah, I've been eating lots of Smarties this morning, so I haven't.
What?
A little bit of hyper after yesterday. Saw the E numbers. I didn't really say that. Anyway, let's move on. So we are... we are proud to say we are now full face mask qualified.
Divers. Yeah, Paddy's speciality. Yes, so I'll try and clap, but I can't.
Steve Lyons and John Osmond have even less hair now after yesterday.
we might have put them through, what did you say? Ups and downs.
Yeah.
There were some ups and there were some downs.
Yeah, there were. I think for more of us, I think.
But the main thing is we all qualified.
And I discovered I don't particularly like cold water.
No, and you're an experienced diver.
I know.
You surprised me.
I was just like, yeah.
But you didn't
actually feel my hands. I can't actually feel my hands now. I can now, but yesterday I got to the afternoon. I was like, oh, I can't feel my left hand now.
Yeah, so we will tell everybody where we went. We went to Gildenberg
water. Well-known water near Peterborough.
Yeah, it's in Cambridgeshire, P7 postcode. So it's smaller than Stony Cove. The water temperature was 5 to 6 degrees, I'd say.
If you're lucky.
And we went down to a depth of 11.5 meters on the first dive. So
the whole thing about yesterday was all about doing the skills and getting qualified, and the water was, as we said, cold, and it wasn't about the actual dive as much, was it?
No, it's about doing the skills. So the skills we had to do were partial flood of the mask and clear it. A full flood.
Handstands, lay on your side, lay
Yes.
on your back, lay on the other side.
Just to demonstrate the way the mask operates in different circumstances. And then
we did some communication.
we tried.
Hold on. I don't know whether my mic will pick this up. Let's see if we can get this. I've got my full face mask here. I'm going to try, see if I can get it to work, see if the mic will.
Mine works. I think.
So what I'm doing, I'm wetting my fingers, and on the comms kit, on the full face mask, that's Neptune 3, they got a Mercury system.
Yeah,
and they've
mine's
got
going
two
channel 1.
screws.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. And
You have to keep your fingers on it.
yeah.
This is going to sound really weird to people just listening to the podcast and not looking at us.
Shush. Hold on. So anyway, I'm not sure that came across well for the podcast. Perhaps you can let us know. But anyway, so this is a new chapter for us.
So there's a bit of visual we'll put on our social media. So we're now showing our Neptune 3 full face masks.
Yeah.
So they've got the comms kit here. And you can even put a GoPro on the top, and you can put torches
and
on
Steve Lyons, I was most jealous of his yesterday because he had twin torches, one either side.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
Looked like some kind of spaceman.
Who's the character out of Star Trek? The name now. Borg? Might be Borg.
Possibly.
Yes, it's Borg. Borg has got a thing on the side of his head. If you Trekkies are out there, let me know that I've got that right, but I'm pretty sure it's Borg. Yeah. Gemma's looking at me blankly.
I'll look at that later. But yes, that was yesterday. So there were 2 other students with Ian and I.
I'm dripping water everywhere.
Bobby Marley and Phil Hawkins. And we know Phil, he's a dive master at Crystal Seas.
Yep.
And we all, qualified. But it wasn't without its ups and downs.
John Osmond, he had long hair when we first met him. Now he's got none.
No, he pulled it all out yesterday.
Hi, John.
So I think it's probably, we have had confined water practice with full face masks, but not with our Neptune 3s. And that maybe was some of the issues because we were in our masks the very first. Well, it was. I would say mine.
It was just flipping cold.
I think you struggled with the cold more than I did. I don't remember
like cold.
No, I don't remember my face feeling cold at all. I just was wanting to get the skills done, and but we got there in the end. So
I need new gloves because they're split.
New hood.
03, and and they were only the 3 mil ones, which I normally wear for like summer and spring and autumn. But yesterday, I didn't want to wear 5 mil gloves doing skills because trying to do skills with really thick gloves, nightmare at the best of times.
Yeah.
And I tried some, funny enough, at Crystal Seas in the week, I tried some Sandy gloves. Oh my God, they were so lovely.
But they're dry gloves.
They're dry gloves. Yeah, they're dry gloves. And they've got a little thing on the top. You can connect the wire in. You have heated gloves. And it's really an interesting point that when you're freezing cold and you hear your instructor, your dive master, telling you how warm he is. Like, great. I feel so much warmer now.
Yeah, he got a big FO from you, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I wasn't chuffed.
No.
He meant well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've done that, and you'll be seeing more of us diving in the Ocean Reef Neptune 3s as we get diving more.
Yeah, now. I can't wait. So
diving next week, should be long as conditions. So next weekend, next Saturday, we're with the Norwich crew river cleaning. So we're going to try a new spot. We haven't dived before there, have we?
No, we've got to check it out just to make sure it is safe to dive there and safe exit and entry points.
Yeah, this time last year we dived a bit further around in the river, and we couldn't dive. It was absolutely like just a brown, muddy stir, really, and couldn't see nothing at all. But hopefully, we had a lot of rain recently, so hopefully I'll wash all that through, and that'll be nice and clear.
Yeah. We should say, if anybody's got any questions about the Ocean Reef face mask, about our experience or where you can get one and how you can start on a full face mask journey, then message us or email us, and then we can give you some more details.
I'll tell you what, my face, when I was in the water with it, did feel warm.
That was the only part of you that did feel warm.
Probably the only part of me that did feel warm.
Yeah.
And then I had to get rid of that warm spot and take that off.
Yeah.
Oh, how I enjoyed that. But anyway,
there was no filming going on.
No, there was.
John did. Yeah. But I don't know, we haven't seen any footage yet. We've just put a few pictures up of on top of the water at the moment. So
yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was an achievement what we did yesterday in such testing conditions.
It is, and we know we've had people on like Becky Kagan Scott, who's just like in Antarctica and in the diving in the ice and all the time, and there's a lot of people dive in much colder conditions. But, be fair, we weren't cut out, didn't have the right equipment for the cold.
I remember Becky Kagan Scott saying she picked up her mask and it was solid frozen.
Yeah.
Just.
So it's one of them things, and I think you kind of get used to it the more you do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But no, so yeah. Any questions? Let us know, and we can point.
But they're great. These masks, I have to say, these are great. On the surface, you can open the valves. You're not using the air, and my air consumption on each dive was getting better.
Yes, yeah. It does take some getting used to.
Oh, definitely.
And obviously, if you're talking underwater, which we will be, you will use more air, but you can breathe through your nose. And it's just
you're not holding a regulator in your mouth.
And you haven't got, the hose on the regulator moving about. Visibility is better. I feel it's better than a normal half mask. And I think, because you haven't got a regulator in your mouth, you've got more movement with your head.
Yeah. We are putting these on our website. So if you are interested, we will be able to provide all the kit for these.
Yeah.
And you're buying them from somebody who's done it and actually using it.
Yes.
We are going to be using them. And I think another interesting point is as well something that John said to me about the Neptune, or he said to us both, was the visibility from the sides. So that you still got visibility where with some of them they have got
frosted glass
or
frosted casing.
You can't see. I don't know why they've done that really, but with some of them. But the Neptune 3, you have got that side vision as well.
Yeah, and the Neptune 3 is
Why
different.
Why put my hands up?
I don't know. It's different to other full face masks because it's very, very difficult to free flow them.
Yes.
The purge button, we obviously wore other face masks in our tri dives, and the purge button was very violent, but the purge on this is very subtle.
It's a lot more.
It doesn't
subtle.
blow the mask off your face.
And a point that we will be coming to a bit in a few weeks' time is these are very open for customization.
Yeah, watch this space.
Us divers, we do like kit and things, don't we? So they've got an extender piece which goes around the head. So as Gemma said, the GoPro sits on top, and you can have. You've got your comms kit on the side by your ears, but you can also put double torches, right? And you can also have them like hydro dipped or sprayed and things like that. So watch this space, because I think I'm going to be having mine done soon.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all exciting stuff, isn't it?
It is. So all good stuff.
Yes. So
we've
should we
got
give a
some
shout out to John Osmond, and who was our instructor? And
Yeah.
does courses, well, basically throughout the UK. So
Yeah. There's not
of-
many instructors either, is there, in the UK?
No, and also then Craig Main Prize, who helped get us the masks and is the dealer in the UK, and he helped us set them up.
Yeah.
Get the comms on and everything. So
he spent a good hour and a half, maybe
really,
2 hours with us the other
good.
night.
Yeah. So
Get all these set up.
Got everything set up. We've even got a spider strap on the back that kind of sits on the straps to make it a bit more comfortable.
Should just explain what that is. So a bit like your normal half mask, sometimes you'll have like a padded piece at the back go on the strap. It's similar to that.
Yep. So we're all ready to go. And
I
also
look
we
forward
need
to
to
it.
say thank you to John for the hats. He supplied us yesterday some beanie hats.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, and
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so we were well looked after.
Especially on a cold day, nice warm hats with Ocean Reef logo on the front. I thought, to start a course, I thought that was a nice touch, actually. But we can give you John's details if you want a good instructor on how to learn how to do. So patient as well, really good with people. Very good at getting you back in the water and motivated.
Yes.
And checking that you're all right. That's a big part of an instructor's role. Is making sure their students are okay and they're safe and
quite a gift he was. Yeah, definitely.
So we really appreciate that.
So that was this weekend, and then the previous weekend we spent the whole Saturday at the UK Go Diving Show.
What a show! What a show!
Amazing.
As I said on one of my posts, what a show! What a sport! What a great thing to attend to.
Yeah, and we had been to the previous years, 2022, 2021. We went to the NDAC sort of Go Diving Roadshow.
Yeah.
And then 2020 was the Go Diving Show prior to lockdown, just before we all got shut down. So
and I went to the one before that as well, before we started this, and each year it's got better, and COVID kind of got in the way a little bit, but it's recovered really well.
Yeah, it had a real buzz about it, and it was lots of stands there. There was an extra hall there which covered UK diving. The main stage was there. It was a big bar, so it had really grown quite dramatically from last year.
I thought it was really good how they had the UK section as well, but UK diving. It was really good. We got some shouts, haven't we?
Yes, yeah. So obviously we went into the UK Go Diving area and saw our friends at Lundy Diving. So we saw Sam and Lee.
Yeah.
So that was their first time at the show. So I'm sure that was very successful.
Yeah.
And then we had a few people coming up to us saying hello.
You did? Yeah. I'm a listener.
Some people, who are you? We still don't know who they are.
No.
So if you said hello to us, can you just drop us a message so that we can...
Yeah, it's always good if you let us know your name, because
yes,
we can kind of give you a shout out as well.
Yeah. There were speakers at the show as well. So previous guests, Cristina and Kevin.
Yeah.
As Cristina was talking about sharks on the Saturday and then cave diving on the Sunday, and we had some great chatter with them and a little interview with them.
Christina's been on loads of times, which is, we always hold Cristina and Kevin, they're inspirational people to us. And we always think in our diving, don't we?
Yes, yeah. I was thinking of Cristina yesterday.
How would Cristina approach something like this? And we always think of her 5 any rules. If you want to go back when we first speak to Cristina came on episode 9, episode 12. Kevin came on and we spoke to Kevin episode 13. This is back in 2020.
Yeah.
Then episode 21, 68, 70, too. And Christine's also featured in Paddy Women's Dive Days, other things as well. So we spoke to Christina loads of times, and rightly so.
Yeah, and Kevin as well has come on and done an episode, on his own with us as well, which was great.
Yeah, great photographer, and really cool. We like catching up with them both, don't we?
Yeah.
It's so lovely to speak to them face to face.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and just great to just finally catch up with them and see them, like you say, in the flesh.
Yeah, so we've got a video that we've recorded, our conversation with them both. So that's got to be, hopefully try and get that out in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Try and get that out in the next couple of days. Then we also spoke to Patrick Widmann, another speaker.
Yes, we'd never met him before. He's a cave diver, rebreather diver, based out in Mexico. So we had a natter to him.
Yeah. Again, that video will be out as well, hopefully later this week.
Yeah. And then obviously at the end of this podcast, we'll put the audio of the interviews that we did with them.
Yeah.
And then we saw Chris Jewel,
had a chat with him.
Guest. Yeah, so in English.
I think he tried to get away. We're like, Chris, wow, talk to us.
So we interviewed Chris back in 2021.
Yeah, episode 97 in November.
Yeah, and that was recorded in the back of the Ford Nugget camper van in Cheddar Gorge.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't it? Found a lovely spot for having a chat. I don't know. Chris didn't really know us well then, and we kind of bundled him to a van and
picked him up from his house. Yeah.
if anyone had seen it, they would think, "What's going on there?
Where's he going?
Quick!"
Yeah, so we drove him up Cheddar Gorge.
So he went, "Please take me home."
Dropped him back home. Yeah, so that was really nice to catch up with him, and he just gave us what he'd been up to in the last kind of 12 months, some more exploration. And then out on the actual show floor, we saw Grace Westcarth and her dad, Ant.
Yep.
So she came onto the podcast, I think that was episode 3, wasn't it?
Grace was one of our very first guests.
Yeah, so we'll be interviewing Grace again soon because she's an ambassador, ocean ambassador now, which is fab. And
if you don't know who Grace is, you need to go find her, look her up on Instagram, Scuba Grace, and always doing amazing things like jumping out of a perfectly good plane, like what other crazy people do. Yeah. And free diving instructor, I believe now.
She's tried free diving, she's done a rebreather, try dive, and she's now at, I think it's Plymouth University, isn't it? Plymouth?
Yeah.
And she's doing a photography and ocean kind of science course, which is just totally up her street.
Yeah, if you're not following Grace, get there and make sure you're following her. So you're keeping up to date with what she's up to. She is a lady of the future. Let's put it like that.
We saw John Routley from Narked at 90. And
our lovely sponsor.
Colleague Ash. Yes, so that was really lovely. Who else did we see?
Can we just say we unfortunately our sweaters didn't come in time for the Go Diving show,
but
we are both sporting our posh new sweaters with sponsored by Narked at 90. So it's the Smarties.
Who else did we see?
Megan and Dad. They come up to us.
Yes, they were near the shark stand, weren't they?
Shark Bite.
Shark Bite, that's it.
Yeah, so Megan bounding up to us.
Yeah, she's a big fan of the podcast, so shout out to Megan. And we caught sight of Ellen, Underwater Ellen, but didn't have a chance to speak to her. Obviously, Andy Torbett. We had a little
chat to him, didn't we? Always good.
Another previous guest. Yes.
Steve Whelan. We had a little chat with him.
We did. Yeah.
Who else did we speak? Oh, we didn't see Dan, but we did. I've been catching up with Dan Metcalf, who you will probably also know on Instagram as Wheels Dan. So he's got some things coming up in April. I think one of them is a marathon. I think he's doing something with a marathon.
That's right. He's the guy that went round Stony, isn't he?
Yes, he's got some records for his time going around Stony Cove. So he's paralysed, I believe, from the waist down.
Mm.
He's in a wheelchair, and he's got quite a beast of a car, 300C,
This black thing.
black beefed up car. Looks awesome. So we're hoping to catch up with him in April, actually on site at Stony Cove. Talk about some of the stuff that's coming up. So look out for that.
Yeah. Other shout outs we need to do. We saw Sean from SDC Watches. He had a stand show, so mustn't forget him. And Dave and Roger, who were with us on the Lundy dive trip on one dive. Roger the cabin boy.
He's not going to let that name will always stick with him. Did I first call him that?
Yes.
Yes.
And then we saw.
So you're on a dive boat and somebody presents his name.
My name's Roger.
My name's Roger. You're on a dive boat. Just got to be Roger the cabin boy.
Yeah. Then we saw Dominic. He had sent us 2 books, Salvamar. So he just kind of came up to us and just gave us these books, which was really, really lovely of him.
Yeah.
Tom Wright at O3. So we went to see Tom, and we saw Marcus and Sean.
And Marcus, yeah.
I think
Alex at Fourth Element, had a good chat with him.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Ross Kemp, we saw him speak. I think
Trudy at Santee.
Yes, busy at Santee. Matt Rivet.
He tried selling me another suit.
Tried to measure you up.
Yeah, he did.
Matt Rivet we caught sight of Matt Ireland. They're all local divers.
Yeah.
Scuba Libra, we saw Kelly and Carl.
Yeah.
So there were lots of familiar faces, that you just pass by, and some man came up to us, and
we didn't get to speak to our friend over at Kubi Clubs, because every time we went over there
he was busy. Yeah.
So we didn't get Richard.
Not sure.
No, I'm not certain of his name now. Robert or Richard.
We caught Dean Martin and Randa gave us waves as well.
Yeah. We didn't get. We really need to get them on at some stage, actually, because Randra's got this new. Well, not new, but she's doing a lot more tours and trying to think of the right word. Expeditions.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to get her on at some stage.
Yeah. So all in all, the Go Diving Show was the best day. There wasn't enough hours in the day, really, was there?
Went so quick.
Yeah.
Went so quick. And Sunday was Kiddies Day for me, and so I couldn't go the Sunday. But hopefully, maybe next year, Scuba Bunny will be with us next year. It's a long day for them. But,
and we did see Mark and Penny Evans and Luke. And we just want to say to Mark Evans, what an amazing show it was, and well done. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally enjoyed it. And we'll hopefully be seeing them next year, all be well.
Yeah. And it was great to see the UK diving scene being highlighted as well, with so many exhibitors from around the UK, Scotland. We even spoke to a guy on the Isle of Skye, didn't we, with the dive boat?
We enjoyed Ross Kemp as well, didn't we? Saw Ross Kemp talk, and great picture, I thought, of the background. I thought, I'll try and recreate that.
Yeah, Alex Mustard, that was another guy.
Yeah.
Mustn't forget, we saw.
Yeah, we saw him. And Simon
Rogerson.
Rogerson, yes. So who's also another previous guest.
Yeah. So all these familiar faces.
They are.
That we've got to know over a course of 3 years.
Yeah, if you don't know who these names are, go back to our previous episodes. They're all on there, and just look them up. So.
Yeah, there's a whole catalogue of all different sorts of guests.
I believe it's about 140 on there.
Yes. So you have to go to our website, www.thebigscuba.com. And you can look at the episodes, listen to them free, all on the website.
Do leave us a review. That's how people find us. So leave us a review. Maybe you don't agree with it, maybe you do, I don't know. Let us know. If we missed you, let us know. And or if you're thinking about coming on, you got something to tell us, let us raise your hand and send us a message. So that'd be good to hear from you.
Yep. So that was the Go Diving Show. Roll on next year.
Yeah. Really looking forward to it. So coming up, going to hear the audios versions of us talking to Patrick Widmann, Jewel, and Cristina and Kevin.
Yes. Yep. So these were all recorded at the Go Diving Show, and here's the audio
in the canteen. We take our guests to great places to record in the canteen. Where's going to take them?
Yeah. So, and then keep an eye out on our YouTube channel, because the audio and the visual will be available very soon.
Yes, yeah, I'll try and get them out this week.
Yeah. And currently our latest YouTube video is an unboxing of the Ocean Reef full face masks.
Yeah.
So have a look at that and you get to see us opening our boxes.
Sounds kind of wrong.
It doesn't.
You can go on YouTube and you can see Gemma undo her box.
You've had too many Smarties this morning, definitely.
Should we move on?
Yes, so I think that's what we've got coming up. Our next podcast will be out a week on Monday, the 20th, and that will be with Andreas from Ionity.
Yeah.
And they are an electric charging company, but owned by several car manufacturers. So it links in very well with our association with Ford UK. Yes,
he is the country manager UK and Ireland at Ionity, who deal with all the supercharge points in the UK and rest of Europe. And what Gemma was saying is that people like Ford, Mercedes, BMW,
Hyundai, BMW,
and they all these companies back in 2017, I believe, put a load of money in the pot and said, right, we're going to be bringing out all these electric cars because that's the future. And by 2030, just about all cars in Europe, I believe, all new cars will be electric, fully electric. And they're already going that way as it is, aren't they? And so they then started putting these charging points out around Europe, and they now got some in the UK, and then they got more investment from BlackRock Finance.
That's it, the investors,
and who pumped another load of cash into the business, and they're now expanding even further. So we've spoke to Andreas in a Ford Mustang Mach-E, beautiful looking car. Supplied by Hammond Group in Aylesworth, so look out for them. Thank you, John Barker. So the media will be coming out all about that. We spoke to Andreas in the Mach-E underneath a wind turbine. Low stuff. Yeah,
in the Africa Alive overflow car park. So that they've got 2 wind turbines on their site that generate electric.
I thought they were going to put the lions away, didn't you? That was a right pain dodging those lions. And, the lions keep, trying to get the lions off the car.
It was such a beautiful day, wasn't it? It was blue sky, but incredibly windy.
It was. Hence why the turbine was going. That was. But if you're going to speak, let's face it, if you're going to speak to the top man at Ionity in an electric car, where is you going to go? You're going to be at a wind turbine.
Yeah, and
relevant.
I know everybody listening, you are associated to the diving world, but you don't need to be a diver to take something from that podcast with Andreas about, the way the future's going, charging points, the whole point of electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles as well.
One of the things, I'm not going to say it because you're going to have to tune in, but one of the things he came out with about the future of the car was game changer, because I never thought of that before. So you need to tune in and then you'll hear what he says, and it's like, yeah, of course.
So that will be out on March the 20th.
Okay, so look out for that. I'm gonna have to go lie down after this.
We sound quite organised, don't we? We've got podcast today, podcast on the 20th.
You sound organised. I just sound like I'm making it up.
And then, hopefully we'll be diving next weekend, and hopefully maybe try and get in the pool in the next couple of weeks and do some.
Ooh, our first time jumping in the water without John being there to hold our hand. So, yeah.
We might be communicating with each other underwater, but I won't tell you what Ian wrote on his slate yesterday afternoon.
Oh, just writing random stuff.
What's Gemma saying? No idea.
I literally have the patience of a gnat. That is a lot of my problem, and yeah, there we go.
Yes, but practice makes perfect, and we just need to practice our skills in the water, keep them up, and also the communication side of things. Just
I've got to go up to Norwich after this to survey where we're going to be diving next week, see whether it's going to be possible. Yeah. And hopefully we can get in and get out. You can always get in, but can you get out?
Yeah.
So that's going to be one of the things I need to look at. And then hopefully, we'll be sharing some footage and more media about what we pull out of the river. Yeah. There in Norwich. Will be
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep an eye out on our social media as always. Lots of things being posted through the week.
We should just say, just before we do quickly move on, we don't organise the river cleaning. It's organised by the Green Party of Norwich in association with a couple of other groups. It's not a political event. There's no green flag flying and things like that, and you don't have to be aligned to any political party at all. It's non-political.
Just a community.
It's a community event, all right. And so if you're in the Norwich area, or maybe if you're not, but you fancy getting involved, then you can. It's free to anyone. So it is going to be happening next Saturday.
Yeah. Right. We better get these go diving guests on that.
Let's get them on.
Yes. Yep. So enjoy, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with Ionity.
Yeah, let's do it. See you later. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for downloading. Bye.
So welcome, Cristina and Kewin. Long time no see. Obviously we met on the power of the Zoom, wasn't it? All those 2 years ago now.
We've done
first time,
First time over 2 years ago.
Yeah. And we're 3 years old now. So So you've been with us on our journey.
I think I was one of the first ones that we did together.
The single figure episode numbers, I think, when we
Then you had Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin came on.
Yeah, now we finally got to meet you in person.
And the dogs come on.
They always come on. They're the stars of the show.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so we were at the Go Diving show, so it's really nice to meet you face to face. So it's really just what have you been up to in the last year, really? It's been very busy, hasn't it?
Last year. Well, the last year has been very busy. We've been, as we went off on our own and got more and more, we launched the liveaboard trips, which has been something completely different and very exciting. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's this 10 days on a boat with just people that absolutely love diving, love sharks, and it's all.
It's a very small group. It's 6 people for 5 of us. So there's a 3 for crew from the boat. It's a sailing catamaran, so it's like very quiet, very nice. And then there's the 2 of us. I come along, we do the special shark dive that Kevin and I do. Yeah. And then we do the tigers and the hammerheads and the stingrays, and obviously you're out on this boat. And Kevin takes all the videos and pictures of everything we do, and I give every other evening a presentation about sharks, about caves, about conservation, and we offer it as a unique package, as something that there's nowhere else offered like that.
And they're all divers that come on the boat, are they? Do you get any non-divers, or is it just
No, it's all divers, but it's very much an educational trip as well. They get quite a lot of knowledge from Cristina, of course. She has,
And you.
Yeah.
And it's then 6 people.
Yeah.
So small group.
Small group.
Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's a lot of private time as well. You can really get to know these people and share a lot of knowledge with these individuals. So it's
when we launched it with a company called Shark Explorers, who is Bahamian owned, Bahamian based, Bahamian run. So it's very much for the economy in the Bahamas. And we already run our second trip this way.
Yeah.
And then we launched 2024, and it just burst. Like within 3 days of launching the first trip, we sold it out. Then we had to open a second trip, sold it out. Open a third trip, sold it out.
Wow.
And we're now in talks for dates for 2025.
Wow.
That's amazing, isn't it? It's just,
The next thing that happened is that finally I was able to hand off the camera to Kevin.
yeah, we've seen the pictures on.
And now it's mine. So.
And in 6 months, when I acquired the camera, for me it was something I'd done it 20 years earlier, 25 years earlier. I wanted to be able to bring up my stories. I was like, I'm tired of asking photographers to use their pictures for my educational purposes. That's it. I'm going to take my pictures.
Yeah.
And then I handed off to Kevin, and Kevin, it always going to shy away from this, but the moment he started taking pictures, I was just amazed. And I'm not saying this because I'm biased. It was just like he has the eye that I don't have. I am more like the photojournalist. This is what I do. Boom, this is the picture, right? And that's what I needed. And Kevin has a point of view that is creative and is artistic and is unique.
Yeah.
And in 6 months, I think he's been able to take pictures that maybe other people would take for years.
Yeah, they're pretty stunning, what we've seen on social media.
So quick.
Especially with light, playing with light, it's brilliant.
So those are the two big ones. Obviously, it was a launch year for us. We had several ups and downs. Personally, we had a health scare, possible breast cancer. So there was also that while we were running the business, while we were running the puppies, while we were running our lives. I was like, and by the way, which is part of life. But personally, we really found our base and our platform.
Yeah, it's good to see from like COVID times when we first got to know you, and then where you are now. It's just an amazing journey.
And so fast, so quick, and so good. We've done quite a few. We had the opportunity to spend time with our families, which has been really, really, really good. We had few personal losses in the last few years, which are again part of life. But I feel that between work being the way it is and the team that we have created is kind of like a very balanced. Like I love teaching, and Kevin, not so much.
But you've got that balance, the work-life balance.
But then Kevin picks up things that I'm kind of like. The other day I was trying to do something. He said, "Let me do it." I'm kind of like, "I'm very patient. I can do puzzles." And he goes, "Yes, you're very patient with puzzles. You're not patient with the computer." So I get up and I let him do it. That part, yes.
Yes, and I think that's the good thing about it. We have both our strengths, and we can very much complement each other with those strengths, and I think it works very well.
Yeah, definitely. So have you got much planned for the coming 6 months?
Or 9 months? Yes.
Well, we're very much booked for the next 7 months.
March, so end of July, half August, we're completely booked.
Completely booked. And we have something very exciting coming up as well. Is we're going to the Philippines for a month with Kids
That's
Sea
for
Camp.
children, isn't it?
Yes, Kids Sea Camps, which is going to be very exciting. Some were different, some...
So what's going to be the point of that? What is going to be teaching them about
Shark
life?
conservation, life. Last time I did a first runner 2 weeks in Belize last year, and it worked. Like I basically showed up like a shark expert. And at first they were like, "Oh, we just need you to be on the boat and give a couple of presentations." But obviously, me being me, I will be on the boat, and I'd be like, "Oh, let me fix your BCD." And so one day they said, "Hey, would you like to teach one day of the advanced course?" And I'm like, "Of course." So I did the fish ID, and then I said, "Would you like to stay back and help with the dive master?" I'm like, "Of course." So they started moving me. There are primary leading instructors, and so I go along as this, I guess, a senior experienced person who brings in obviously the knowledge about sharks, the presentation, but also has a presence on the boat, and the kids as much as the adults can approach me and talk about that.
How old are the children?
From 4 all the way to 18, and the adults.
Yes.
And then Kevin
I'll be there as the photographer, so taking the videos and pictures of all the guests.
It's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. And it inspires like youngsters, inspiring them
Yes,
about the ocean.
totally different because our work is highly specialized with sharks and caves. So mentally is very demanding, and technical diving, cave diving, the rebreathers is physically and mentally demanding. I'm not saying that working with children is not as much, but we are going back to the realm of recreational diving.
Yeah.
So there's more time to focus also on more the fun part, if you want to make it like that. Kind of like looking forward to it.
nice.
Say, hey, can you teach a fish ID? I'm like, yes.
Kids are like sponges. They want to learn and they soak it up, and that's a brilliant way of changing this mindset about sharks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in a different sense, there's a family setup, there's out of the water activities, there's like evening activities. They do, we won't do it, promise. We still want people to love us, but we're gonna not do the karaoke, but they do things like that. I usually don't do karaoke because might have people not liking me after that.
Or do karaoke myself.
But also, it's very much the age group that we need to inspire and need to love the sharks, the oceans, because they're the one that's gonna be the next voice of those places, and they're gonna be the next ones to do something about it. So.
Yeah, and that leads them to their careers and what they study at school and university. We've seen it happen. It's great to see people progress from just being touched by the ocean, and then they're just like.
This summer I joined, the junior dive master, which is a limited dive master training, and they cannot do certain things because of liability. And now she just got admitted into the university, and she sends me the updates about what she's doing. And now when she turns 18, she can finish her dive master, so like a lifetime already. Of opportunities are set up by these camps so I'm looking forward to doing more of these camps, 1 or 2 months per year, together with our liveaboards, and then continue the sharks and the caves on the island. So,
and it's in another part of the world as well, which is good. So it's kind of spreading your wings, isn't it?
Right, and that is where 2025 comes in. We already have new trips around the Bahamas planned, which will include the new sharks like the oceanic white tips and other things. And from there, also the expansion into running a trip to South Africa on the sardine runs with the same people that were running the Bahamas trip to diversify our presence within the educational diving world. But all of a sudden, it's like let's see and let's learn about a different place and a different opportunity.
And then still talking at shows like this as well.
Yes, absolutely. I still do quite a lot of online outreach. Kevin is kind of like shakes his head because I'm like, I don't have all time. And he's like, oh, can I talk? Yeah, sure, I'm going to send you. So I do still an average about 4 calls per week, obviously while I'm here in Nantes. University women that reach out and say, oh, I'm doing a master's on this, I would like your opinion for an hour, or I'm preparing my PhD, I would like your time for this. Mentorship, I want to do what you do, how do you do that? And so I hop on these calls, and then I do schools. I have 2 schools lined up for Italy as soon as I get back to the Bahamas.
Women Divers Hall of Fame.
I have a Women Divers Hall of Fame. Well, I do the mentorship program for the Explorers Club, the Women Divers Hall of Fame, and the Our World Underwater Scholarships. Together we do all 3. Those are the official ones. Unofficially, I still hop on calls with random people that reach out. And by random is quote unquote random, is usually they have a background in oceanography and interested in pursuing a career, already some experience, they just kind of like don't know. And so I hop on a call for an hour and share what could be what it took us to survive during COVID, or what is our day looking like. It's not necessarily like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Is
but it's support and inspiration for someone that that little hour can mean everything, can it?
Correct. Or give them ideas and tell them about, hey, our World Out on Water Scholarship Society, the Women Divers Hall of Fame, the Explorers Club have scholarship and training grants. Have you tried to apply here? Have you tried to apply there? And give them contacts as well, and context, say, hey, look, you're not alone, and this is...
And confidence, isn't it?
Yes.
It's exciting then, so you've got lots on.
I can't believe how fast this day flew. I mean, just like
It's just whiz-bang.
Yeah, it's fine.
You'd be falling asleep in the car.
It's just the time just goes so quick. But I think it's good what you do, because a lot of people are inspired by you. You've inspired us in our diving.
Definitely.
And we often think about in certain situations how you would react, and somebody asked us to do quite a difficult river clean, and we're like, well, this would be really not right, and that was just after you'd come out the whole any.
Any.
Yeah, so that's what we did.
Yeah, and that was right.
Yeah, so we knew what was right for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Good.
yeah, that's
So it's good. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you very much for
And you two make a great team. So
Yeah, teamwork. Yeah, so thank you for your time.
that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, we are at the Go Diving Show and we have found Chris Jewel, and we're just going to have a quick catch up with Chris.
Carol.
Just to find out what he's been doing. We interviewed him last in November 2021. Yeah.
Episode 97.
Wow.
All that time ago.
Yeah. So Chris, obviously we saw you a good over a year ago. So
Yeah.
what have you been up to in the last year and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I guess 2022 was all about going to Spain for me. I had a big expedition, or a couple of expeditions to Spain, to northern Spain, to the Picos de Europa. It's a big mountain range on the northern coast. Big limestone mountains there, up to about 2,600 metres in altitude. And we were based up there on a plateau at about 1,600 metres.
Wow.
And diving the bottom of a deep cave up there called Cabeza Mutha. So that was a big focus for me.
Was that exploration?
That was exploration,
Yeah.
yeah. So it took a big team of people to get all the equipment up there and then down the cave. We had to rig and install all the metalwork and ropes into the cave the whole way down. It's over 1,500 metres of rope that we had to put in, and that took many days. And then we had to transport all the diving equipment down the cave. So that all worked, I managed to make an exploration dive at the bottom of the cave. The sump was last dived by Rick Stanton in 1988, so 34, 35 years ago, since the cave had been visited and dived. Rick reached a depth of 33 metres on open circuit, so I planned and I expected it to be a long, deep dive. So I took rebreather, I took lots of technical diving equipment, expecting for a really long dive. But actually, rather than carry on down, I went past Rick's furthest point, and actually the cave began to trend upwards quite quickly. So super exciting, and I found myself in a shaft that was basically going straight up to surface. And amazing, I managed to surface in some brand new cave that no one had ever visited before. So, and that's what cave diving exploration is all about for me. The chance to go somewhere no one's ever been before, and particularly the chance to pass undived sumps or pass sumps and and find passages that no one's ever been in. So super successful. I did a little bit of exploration in the dry cave. Unfortunately, I reached some obstacles, so climbs I couldn't get down, but that's sitting there waiting to be done in the future. And we're pretty sure that cave will connect into another cave. So that was great. That was part one, and then part two, I was in the Picos again on a different expedition, different group of cavers over in a place called Tresviso. And I managed to make a couple of exploration dives there, including passing a sump which some of my friends have been in before. So there's a cave called Cueva del Agua, and it's got this incredible sump called the Road to Certain Death, and it's named after the Monty Python, named as Monty Python, the kind of the sketch from the Holy Grail. So I dived the Road to Certain Death, and the last people to dive that were my friends Gavin Newman and Phil Short, and they made a film about it. So again, getting to kind of following the footsteps of previous diving pioneers, and Rick and Phil and Gavin had turned back at a depth of near enough 80 metres, and actually I was able to go on beyond their limit, carry on. Actually, again, the cave didn't go deeper, it began to trend up and become more shallow, and actually again I passed that sump and got into a new cave there. And I was really pleased to do that. So I've had a really successful summer, going places and doing big dives and finding new cave, and that's what it's all about for me, find a new cave. So
Sounds
been great.
exciting, and to obviously extend that exploration that your previous people have.
Absolutely. You go on. I get a chance to go on lots of different expeditions. Spain was certainly very successful for me, but you go on trips sometimes and things don't work out as you quite expect. So it was nice to have it work quite so well. That was a while ago, I guess, and then more recently I was actually back in Thailand. So John Valantha and I went on a trip to Thailand. We had the opportunity to go back to Tam Luang, where the rescue happened in 2018.
Yeah.
And we had the chance actually to go back and see the cave without water in, so not flooded.
That must have been amazing.
It was incredible to see. The dive lines from the rescue were still there.
Wow.
We got to see quite how far it was that we'd had to travel, and we walked in. That was really special. The best way for me to go back to Thailand and visit Tam Luang was to go back with John and to go back with Vern Unsworth. And we actually had a reason to go back. We went to the cave, not just to see it, but we went to go and actually dive a sump at the end of the cave. So we had a purpose.
Right.
And Vern arranged a big team of cavers. We had a long trip. It's a long way to the back end of the cave. So we were underground for many, many hours. I think about 12, 13 hours in the end.
So was that further than where you actually rescued the boys from?
Yeah, so we rescued the boys from relatively near the entrance, comparatively. And I realised it was still a long way. Even walking in, I was thinking, crikey, it's a really long way to get to what they now call Wild Boar Avon, where the boys had been rescued. I got to climb up the slope and so wow, I remember this. You remember being here?
But underwater.
Underwater, and obviously I climbed up the slope to where it came out of the water, where the boys had been sitting, and thinking, crikey, I came out the water here and the boys were up there.
Wow.
That was really special. And then we went on beyond there to the end of the cave. That was many, many more hours of caving, and some quite physical, difficult caving towards the end, quite strenuous caving. We had lots of heavy equipment as well. So super, super exciting, great to be part of that, and great to have the opportunity to go back to that cave with those group of people.
Yeah. So what's for the future? Have you got anything planned?
For the future, I've got some ideas about what I'd like to do this summer. I've also got some plans involving my work, and there's a chance I might relocate to Australia for a time. So because of work, that'll give me an opportunity to go somewhere different, and then that'll open up new opportunities for me. So we'll see what happens with that, and if not, I've got some backup plans as well.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. Yeah. So it's been good to catch up with you, and just see what you've been up to.
It's great. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant.
So we're here at the Go Diving Show, and we've listened to a few speakers, and Patrick Widmann is with us, and you spoke earlier this morning.
Yes.
Yep. So for people watching this, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Patrick. I'm originally from Austria. I have left Austria when I was 19 years old, moved to Egypt for 5 years, and now since 16 years I live in Mexico. And in Mexico I own Protect Diving Center, so I'm one of the owners of Protect Diving Centers, and I teach technical and cave diving and rebreather diving a lot in the last couple of years, because I'm the training director of KISS rebreathers, and we've done a lot of work on the rebreather. And in my spare time I travel around the world and I explore caves and teach people.
Yeah.
They're popular rebreather, because we spoke to quite a few people who dive on rebreathers. In fact, one of our friends, and also Cristina as well.
Yeah, on KISS.
Yes, the Sidewinder, because we have been in rebreathers in Protect since quite some time, since about 2001, and we have been definitely one of the most active places to learn rebreather cave diving, right? Because we're in Mexico, we're in like the Himalayas of caves, so to speak. So we taught a lot of rebreather cave diving, but not so much like the entry levels, right? Like Mod 1 or Mod 2, we didn't do that much. We also didn't sell a lot of rebreathers, right? Because we're in Mexico, usually people will buy their rebreather in the States or buy their rebreather in Europe and then just travel with it. And then since the Sidewinder, with the Sidewinder we sold over 80 rebreathers in 2.5 years, and I've been basically teaching non-stop Sidewinder Mod 1 classes and crossovers for the past good 4 years now.
Yeah.
One of our sponsors, they service and look after
all sorts of rebreathers.
And I think they actually look after
KISS.
KISS
Very possible.
as well.
Yeah.
It has definitely kept us busy, and the funny part is, because usually rebreathers would be like a technical diving equipment, right? So it's usually for people that want to go deeper or longer, and they have to invest more money, and it's heavy, and it's more like type of diving. But the Sidewinder is quite the opposite, right? You can do extreme hardcore exploration with it. We have explored caves sub 100 meters for over hour duration on the bottom, several hours of decompression. We have dragged it through dry caves. We have rappelled with it. We have done extreme types of diving with it. In the same time, maybe 85 to 90% of my clients in Europe are recreational divers that dive in lakes and quarries, maximum to like 20 meters, 30 meters. So it's really quite interesting, the versatility of the rebreather in regards to the people that are interested in using it.
So it's not all deep stuff.
No.
Deep dives.
No, first of all, the Sidewinder is extremely lightweight, right? It weighs 7 kilos. So for traveling...
It's not heavy.
No, not at all. It's one of the only rebreathers where you can just like jump up and down with it. It doesn't take any physical strength to put it together to take it apart, which most rebreathers to a certain degree need that sometimes, right?
That's interesting, yeah.
And the best part about it is it's unbelievably easy to dive. When most rebreathers think, rebreather diving is not that difficult because they're rather deep. We in Mexico, we dive mostly very shallow. So everybody or most people are familiar with the term minimum loop, meaning that when I inhale, my counter lung is supposed to be empty, right? And the gas is in my lung, and when I exhale, it's in the counter lung and vice versa. But what they don't think about is also, in the moment I inhale a minimum loop, my rebreather doesn't have a vacuum in it. Right, there's still gas in the canisters and the corrugated hose and in every place except the counter lung. So the larger that volume is, the more difficult it is to use it in shallow water.
Right.
Most rebreathers by default are rather large. Right, so even when I have minimum loop and I inhale, there's still maybe like 10 or 12 or 14 liters of gas left in the rebreather. So now if I ascend by like 1 meter or 2 meters in shallow water, all hell breaks loose. Which makes diving rebreathers really very challenging, specifically in shallow water. So, and it also sort of like a little bit takes the fun out of diving, right? Because you're like kind of like challenged and busy all the time. Which is why very few, if none of us, have ever used before like big sized rebreathers for fun cave diving on the weekend, so to speak. We would usually just go open circuit. And that is completely flipped with the Sidewinder. And like the locals that live in Mexico, maybe 5% were rebreather certified, and now it's more like 60%. And then when most people just go Sidewinder diving as their number one tool, it's not like, oh, I'm going to use side mount, but then for a specific type of diving, I'm going to bring. No, for any type of diving, we just go with the Sidewinder.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's good for people to see that there is a transition from open circuit to
it's super. It's lightweight. It's super easy, and it's also price-wise not that expensive. I think in the UK it's going to be about 7,000 euros ish. I don't know what that is, less than sterling. So yeah, this is why, because now as a training director, I'm trying to promote to have more instructors around the world, and then everybody always tells me, it's like, yeah, but you know, our market is very small, and here's not going to sell. I'm like, I would have said the same thing about Mexico 4 years ago, and I was completely and utterly wrong, right? So it's definitely something, and because of that, I spent the last 2 years also traveling quite intensively. I went to Asia, Israel. I went to a lot of places just teaching people how to on the Sidewinder. It's almost become my full-time profession.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I'm intrigued, if you're from Austria, how did you get into your scuba journey? Because it's a landlocked country.
Yes, but we have a lot of lakes, right? I started diving when I was 12 in a local search and rescue team. I'm from a 700 people village. So when you're in a village, everybody does something. You're either with the music, or you're with the firefighters, or with something like that. And my dad just was with the Red Cross, voluntary mountain rescue team, and voluntary water rescue team. And I joined him in the water rescue team. And yeah, diving has been pretty much my number one passion besides alpinism. And then when I was 19 years old, I broke my back in a climbing accident. And in Austria, you usually have to join military service after high school. The military said, we can't take you for 1 year because of your injuries. I was like, what am I going to do for 1 year? I don't want to go to university by myself without my mates. I don't want to spend time at home. And so, you know, they were like, hey, why don't you go somewhere as a dive guide? So I moved to Croatia. Croatia was October. It got really cold really fast, and then no more tourism. So then I moved to Egypt. And yeah, then I did 5 years there. And then in 2005, a German tourist gave me a book that was called Beyond the Deep. It's Barbara am Ende and Bill Stone exploring Huatla, the deep caves of Mexico, 1,900 meters down. Lots of British people were parts of the exploration also. And I remember opening the book in the middle where the pictures are, and I see them sleeping in a bivouac with the rebreathers underneath it, and I'm like, hang on, I can climb and dive in the same sport? I need to do that. Yeah. So in 2005, I sent emails to Martin Farr, actually. Martin Farr, British cave diving legend, of course. and a bunch of other people. And the person that sent me the best answer back was a guy named Matt from Protec, the shop that I own now, but from Protec in Mexico, and said, yeah. So I went to Mexico for 2 months and had a whole bunch of cash with me from Egypt, and I said, look, this is the money I have, teach me everything there is to know about cave diving. So, and this is how I started.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we're going to invite you back onto the podcast for a longer chat about your journey. But that's been a great intro to hear all about.
Will be my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Now that does wrap up today's episode of the BiG Scuba Podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.